Johnny here for Johnny's Car Care and Review. So we've got huge 2022 Ford Maverick news today, and David Boyd from All Terrain Nation is going to take us to SEMA to show us some modified Mavericks. So that's going to be really cool. And by the way, his channel is fantastic. So you want to check out All Terrain Nation. Like and subscribe to his channel. He's got some great stuff going over there. He is extremely entertaining and one of the nicest YouTubers I think that you'll ever find. He certainly does help out a lot of new YouTubers, and that he doesn't get anything out of that other than being a really kind gentleman. We're also going to be talking about this channel's Bronco. The Marie's really, but the channel will see it quite often. It's a Sasquatch. Hi Winston. Hi. There's delay builds on that, and it's bad news for us, but it's really good news, I suspect, for quite a few people, and I'm going to explain all that. We're also going to be finishing off the show with must-know Maverick information, so that you're not going to want to miss the end of the show. And if there is some time, we will talk about the future at Ford, which actually might cause this show to be cut into two different segments. So if that does happen, well, you'll know at the end of this video, and you'll just have to click on the next one because you're not going to want to miss any of this. We're also going to be talking about, plug-in escapes, the whole electrification process at Ford, what's coming down the pipeline, electric Broncos. We'll be talking about all that. You're not going to want to miss out. Electric Maverick, maybe? Well, not according to one spokesperson at Ford, but we'll talk more about that. So we're going to be covering all the must-know news, and really importantly, of course, we're going to be talking about the new order guide that has come out. So your order guide is, it's really the booklet that covers everything you need to know on a model, and there have been changes to that order guide. So we're going to be talking about what those changes are, some pretty big news going on right there, and I've got some really important advice to share on that. So, why don't we start with that? Let's put the pedal to the metal and jump right on the order guide news. So I will do an entire separate video that really goes over really the first page on the new order guide, because I get so many questions about, how do I get this? How do I get that? And those are really important questions, and you don't want to end up getting your Maverick and not having it have the stuff you thought it had, or maybe your salesperson told you it had. Well, it's always good to have proof, and I'll probably go through that point by point in an upcoming video very shortly. But for now, what are the highlights? Well, the really good news here is that all late availability items have been removed. So there's no late availability items on the list. And I'll be posting that to the sides because I always like to prove what I say. It's, always good to see it in writing. Now, beyond all the late availability removed, some things have not, so that means, what does that mean? I should cover what that means. That means that there aren't options that we know will make it for sure that you don't get a build date, that you just kind of get pushed aside. And even if you have a very early order number, you're back in June, July, or August, it meant that if you had one of the things on the previous list that were late availability, you weren't going to get a build. Well, now that's gone, but some other things are gone too. So the cargo management system mounted crossbars are no longer available. So they're gone. Now the bed divider, it's no longer available, and it's gone. Let's continue this. The XLT luxury package, now you could say the spray-in bed liner is gone as well. We've known that that's been slowing things down, but you know what? Now they're going to be putting in that hard drop-in. The hard drop-in bed liner is the plastic bed liner. That's, what's going to cover all your painted inside box. It's going to be plastic, so it has its own pros and cons. One downside is it can be a little slippery. One really good aspect of it is that if you spill oil on it or paint, it's easy to clean up. You spill oil, you'll get it off, it won't stain. When you have, a spray-in bed liner, heck, oil stains, paint, all sorts of stuff can really, be very tough to get out. Now, the spray-in bed liner has amazing grip. But that means ice will also want to grip to it and be awfully hard to get ice out. Whereas with the plastic bed liner, you know, it's kind of flimsy flopsy. You give it a few hits, it vibrates, and it's easy to get chunks of ice out of that. So what do we need to keep in mind here? We still, you know, even though there are no longer any late availability options. And, you know, for example, before molded mud guards, those are the flaps behind the tires that keep rocks and mud from banging up against your paint and chipping your paint. Well, they are really inexpensive when you get them from the factory as part of your build. But I'd still get them from the parts department once your Maverick shows up, because before, late availability meant there were none. So when there's none, they can't build you your Maverick, and you kept getting passed by other people quite possibly. Now though, it falls into the potential of being a supply versus demand issue, so that if there's, you know, more demand than actual supply, well, this could slow down your build. And, you know, easy builds that don't have all sorts of added accessories on them could get picked instead of yours. So I'd still highly recommend that you get that from your parts department. Order them up, you know, when you go and order your Maverick, or if you go in to remove these things from your Maverick order, just go straight to the parts department and order them right away. Easy as that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So let's just kick it off to David at the SEMA Auto Show in Las Vegas. He is the nicest YouTuber. He knows I'm stuck in Canada, so he sent me this footage, you know, as just being a really incredibly nice guy. And I really find his material, his show, extremely entertaining. I follow him. I watch I think I watch all of his shows, and I'd say if you could give him, you know, I'd like to see him get to, you know, 6,000 subscribers. So if you can go over to his channel, All Terrain Nation, give him a subscribe and like his videos. And if you really want to help him out, you could even, you know, let his entire playlist run on your computer. So let's just, you know, hand it over to him over at the Las Vegas SEMA Auto Show to show us two pretty cool Mavericks. And I'm going to want to hear what your thoughts are in the comment section about these two Mavericks. You know, are they nice? Are they cool? What do you think? Let me know.
All right, so this Maverick content is for you, Johnny. This is a slammed of sorts Maverick. And let's see what they call this thing. This is the Maverick XLT Super Crew all-wheel drive, and a really cool paint job on this thing. I like that a lot. And it's paint. That's not a wrap, or it doesn't feel like a wrap. Definitely you can see the front of this thing. I love the lip on this thing. It looks really, really good. The color, I wish Ford would do this color on things, man. I would, Kelly, could we have this color on a Bronco?
I like my red.
Kelly says no. But I would. I like this color a lot. And man, they've got Mavericks everywhere. All right, look, we've got a topper on a Maverick, and it's a strange little topper, but it seems to work for it. Now this is the hot chili pepper accented tri-coat, clear coat, 14 different name color that they're coming out with for the Broncos. It's not bad in person, it's just a little too orange for me. Now, this thing is lifted. What size tires are on this? This is crazy. Let's see, 265, 65, 18. Still a meaty little tire for this little EV truck. And we'll look around the back of this thing. You know, nice little bed. You know, there's a reason for this little truck. They're definitely bigger in person than you would think they should be. Between this one over here and this one here, but very, very nice.
Okay, so those are two very cool Mavericks, and it's okay that, you know, whether you love them, you hate them, you know, good, the bad, and the ugly of all of this is that, you know, yes, some people will find them ugly possibly, and, you know, but there is definitely good. The good in all of this shows how much interest there is in the Maverick. You know, the SEMA Auto Show, I believe, had 3 modified Mavericks on the inside. And, you know, the Maverick comes in at a price point where for a lot of people, there will be leftover money to modify it. Whether, you know, on the hot pepper red Maverick that we saw, whether you lift up the front, that's a good sign that there will be a lift or leveling kit, because trucks generally have the back just a little higher so that when you do load them, they end up being flat. Well, if you're not gonna heavy load that 1500 payload capable bed on the Maverick, well, maybe you'll want to just add a 1-inch lift to the front to really level it out. So what this does show though is that there's going to be a lot of companies interested in providing us with really cool accessories, and we'll be able to really personalize and modify Mavericks to our liking. So that's really exciting news, because let's say in 2-3 years you start to get a little tired of how your Maverick looks or drives or whatever it may be. There's going to be a plethora of Maverick accessories that you can throw on. So thank you very much, David, for getting that footage to us. Really appreciate it. Now let's move on to the topic of our Bronco. So as I've mentioned on the channel before, Marie is getting a Bronco for this winter, and we still want our hybrid Maverick, but we do suspect that it could very well get built in February or March, and one way or another, by the time it gets to us, winter will have gone by. We need something safe for her. So and one of these Broncos we could say is for the channel. So if I end up with a Maverick and 2 Broncos, I'm not gonna complain, and that's in large part, being able to do this is in large part because of this channel. And I really appreciate how you've all helped me out by subscribing. So thank you very much for liking and subscribing. It helps feed a poodle, it helps dress a poodle, and it also helps pay a bit of Bronco. So I get to bring an extra Bronco, I guess, onto the channel, do test drives, really get to compare the Sasquatch package versus the Badlands. So I'm really excited about that. But here's the bad news for us and good news for you. It's been delayed by 2 weeks. And being delayed by 2 weeks is good news, because I also looked at a reservation holder, actually a couple reservation holders Broncos, and one in particular moved up by pretty much exactly 2 weeks. So we got pushed to the last week that they were building these 2021 Broncos, and he got pushed up. So I think what Ford is doing, and I think this is incredible on Ford's part, my second Bronco doesn't have a reservation. It, got assigned as inventory because, well, the factory's got to build Broncos, and of course this is a soft top Bronco, and a lot of people are holding out for their hard top Bronco. Clearly, some people must have been switching to soft tops, and Ford slid those in. His is a hard top, and he got pushed forward as well. So they are putting those, you could say, inventory Broncos to the very last week, which means there's actually a chance that maybe they'll even just not build it. So we'll have to see if it ends up getting pushed into a 2022. That would probably depend on more people switching to a soft top, or parts coming to the factory that can go towards reservation holders build. So clearly his got built 2 weeks sooner, which could also mean that more hard tops than suspected are coming to the factory, but it looks like things are going better at the factory. And that brings me to more Bronco news. Things are definitely going better at the factory also, because the factory that builds Broncos, Michigan, they're gonna be focusing on building less Rangers and more Broncos. So some of that, production that would have gone towards Ford Rangers is going to be, cooled down a little bit so that they can ramp things up even more on the Bronco. So good news is with those 2 pieces of information, it looks like things are going a lot better for the Bronco. And, at my local dealer, that's what they're seeing as well. They're going to be getting, less Ford Rangers and more Broncos. And even, Tim Bart's fantastic guy, fantastic channel. He was talking about his dealer, and now if I recall correctly, it was 13 Broncos and 4 Rangers, and we're going to be getting about 3 times more Broncos at the local dealership coming up versus Rangers. So that's what's going on right there. Now let's carry right along. I did promise that there'd be really important Maverick information near the end of this video. So here it is. you need to order your hybrid really quickly. And you can always cancel your order because soon the reservations, the orders, they're going to stop for 2022 Ford Mavericks. And the next time that they'll be scheduling Ford Mavericks will be sometime next summer or, very early fall, somewhere between June and September. So essentially, you're going to be pushed to a 2023 Ford Maverick in regards to hybrids because they'll have sold out hybrids for the year. So you really need to jump on that already. I thought it'd be somewhere around, early to mid-November at worst. And we're getting pretty close to mid-November. So Ford did say early November. We've got to get our hybrid orders in. And here's the thing. Some people are holding back for things that will be resolved with time. I'll give you one example. Someone was saying, I'd order a hybrid, but the fuel tank is too small. And they said the fuel tank on the EcoBoost, they gave the numbers, I think it's 16.5 gallons versus 19 gallons. And they're saying if it had a 19 gallon, I'd be fine with that. These are little things that with time, they're going to get worked out. So here's how I worked it out. I did the math. You look at the fuel economy on the hybrid and you look at the fuel economy on the EcoBoost and you compare them to those fuel tanks, well, you're still getting about 550 miles out of a tank of fuel on the hybrid. So you're still getting all sorts of distance. So in the end, you're going to be going to the pump as rare or as often as you would with the EcoBoost. And you're going to be going to the pump pretty much the same amount of time as if you had, a huge 135 liter. I'll have to transfer that into gallons, but 136 liter F-150 fuel tank. So little things that bug you and you're not sure about. If you can't live with it, don't go order one. But if there's little things that you're not sure and you're still humming and hawing, like what color to pick, order your hybrid and, make your change of color later on. You'll have time. So let's carry right along to the next piece of news. Okay, so I am trying to keep these videos shorter. We all have shorter attention spans, many of us because of Sesame Street, but we have shorter and shorter attention spans with everything that goes on in the fast-paced world we live in today. So we're going to cut this into a second piece, in the second video that you'll want to just click on and get to when you have time. We're going to be talking about, beware of Bronco brain. Beware of hybrid head, both of which are completely two different mentalities or mindsets that might fall in having you behave a certain way. So we'll be talking about that. We'll also be talking about electrification at Ford. So really, what is the future at Ford looking like? So we're going to be talking about, plug-in Bronco. We'll be talking about plug-in Maverick, electrified Maverick. So we're going to be covering all that. We'll also be talking a little bit of technology, which sometimes, I drop some pretty interesting stuff, like about almost 6 months ago now, I was talking about graphene manufacturing, and that turned out to be pretty neat. Actually, I was talking about it when I think they're at about $1.50 a share. They're now running at almost $5 a share. And they could crash anytime, who knows? But what was really neat about all that graphene manufacturing company talk is that we're talking about graphene aluminum batteries and their capacity to charge 60 times faster, and that the batteries had about 3 times autonomy. And they do want to build batteries for the automobile world. So we'll be talking about that in the next video. We're also going to be talking about Blue Oval City because, that helps us also know what's going on at Ford. We'll also be talking about, Ford Edge and how a gasoline-powered Ford Edge is actually asking me if I want to know where there's a charge station, and that there's, a spot in the back that looks like it's an available spot for charging. And talking about an available spot for charging, did Ford Authority see and take photos, spy photos of a Bronco that the sticker, the camouflage could be covering a charge plug? Very cool. We'll talk about why that's, quite possibly the case. And, we definitely will want to talk about some work that Ford and I hope I pronounced this correctly, Purdue are doing in regards to charging cables, which would allow a whole lot more amperage to charge vehicles. So much faster charging time. So we'll be talking about all that. In the meantime, please hit this like button to this video, subscribe to the channel, and subscribe to All Terrain Nation's channel. I'd love to see All Terrain Nation and David Boyd. He really deserves it. He is top-notch gentleman. I hope we get him to 6,000 subscribers. So let's all try to get David Boyd to 6,000 subscribers, and I'd really appreciate it. I'm kind of making it a goal here. I'd love before the next 30 days to make it to 5,000 subscribers, maybe even by the end of November. And why not subscribe? It's free. These videos are free. And what's more is if you do subscribe now, well, in 12 months when I'm at 15,000 subscribers, you can say that you're one of the early adopters. So thank you so much for watching. I do hope you get to put the pedal to the metal, and I wish you all more cars and more power. Until, well, next time, it will be as soon as you click on the next video. Take care.